guys, today I'm in Paris and I am sitting down with a luxury fashion blogger, TK, but I'm gonna let her tell you guys all about her with the first question that I've got for her. TK, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for agreeing for the meet.
Thank you.
Can you tell my viewers who TK is and what your blog is all about?
Okay, so TK is a South African who came to Paris 13 years ago to live a dream. Firstly, a dream of becoming French, like in every sense of the word. French, linguistically speaking, to learn the language, but also to be about the fashion and the, how should I say, the cultural lifestyle of Parisians in general. Always had a fascination with French people in general, with their lifestyle, be it fashion, be it food, be it just the way that they live their life. So you could say that fashion pastry, and the name fashion pastry because it's my two passions, fashion and food, pastries in general, is really where, like, the epitome of what I'm all about. And it's basically a visual journey of my journey of becoming, how should I say, the South African version of a Parisian, so to say. So yeah.
Good. Second question I've got for you is what inspired you to start the blog? Obviously, we know once you arrived in Paris, you were like, okay, I'm in Paris now. And did you just wake up one morning and thought, oh, let me start blogging? Tell us how you got into the blogging world.
Well, funny enough, when Facebook started, I really started like documenting and journaling and taking pictures of my travels, of food. I'd like to whip some stuff up in the kitchen and take pictures of that. And it was just in sort of themed, how should I say, albums. And then obviously there was the whole Instagram phase that started, and I started like journaling, a part of that. I first started with a page on fashion on Facebook that I called 50 Shades of Sexy at the time. But the name was too long, it wasn't catchy enough, and that's when I created Fashion Pastry with the play on the words fashion and pastry. And that's when I started like discovering some of the main bloggers at the time, the big influencers today, Sincerely Jules, Kristen Bezin, and I was like, wow, you know, and Margaret Zhang, who's one of my favorites. And I saw their way of taking pictures, and they all held blogs, and I'm like, wow. And at the time it wasn't as, how should I say, famous as it is today, or like a big deal. I was like, you know, I'd like to also write about, you know, why I'm doing this, and how should I say, comment my pictures, because it's one thing to post a picture, it's another thing to explain why you post a picture and all the ideas that come with posting the picture. I have to be honest, at the beginning it was difficult finding, how should I say, the right rhythm and the right tree, you know, because you can take a picture, but you need to have a storyline that goes with the picture, and that takes a bit of practice. But I love writing. I don't know, I've always documented my feelings on papers, everything I see. I'm always inspired, and I always see the world in, how should I say, in pictures. Like, I can be outside walking and I just want to take a picture. Like, I'm literally always taking pictures. Like, I'm sitting here with you right now and I'm literally taking a picture. That's just the way I am. So that's how the whole vlogging thing started, you know. And obviously my ex-boyfriend at the time, he knew about my passion for fashion, for lifestyle, for travel, and he was like, you know, Tika, you're very good at this, you've got a very artsy approach to things. Start a blog, and that's when we started the blog.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Next question is, how do you keep yourself motivated? Especially, we know these days, everybody's a blogger these days. You know, people, they think blogging is about taking a picture and posting it on Instagram or Facebook and bloggers. So how do you keep yourself on top of the game and just motivated?
I think what's my biggest drive is that I'm a very ambitious person. I have lots of drive. I have so many things that I want to achieve, and I think that's what like maybe sets me apart from most of the other bloggers, that I want to share my journey. So that's what keeps me motivated, because I feel like there's a story that has to be that's being unraveled slowly, and with each part of like me going forward, I'm literally like going through those motions with you. So there can't be a lack of motivation. There are some moments when I lack inspiration, because I feel like everybody's doing the same thing and I don't want to be mainstream. I don't want to be like everybody else. And I think the moment that we start deciding not to be like everybody else and just being ourselves, there is no lack of motivation. You know what I mean? You just push through, you just keep pushing forward. And like I said, I have so many projects for this year for myself, which obviously have got nothing to do with the blog, so to say, but me like moving forward with those projects, I want to integrate that in my page, and I always wanted my followers to feel everything I'm feeling, to feel me, to build Fashion Pastry. For me, Fashion Pastry is a common project. I want you guys to feel what it is like to be me where I am, and you know, to grow the project together. You know, feel what it is like to be in Paris. Feel it like you're with me. I've always had been very sensitive to being approachable, and that's what shocks many people. They're like, "You have all these followers. Oh my God, you responded to me." I'm like, "Yeah, duh. Why wouldn't I? You know, like I'm just TK. You know, I go to the bathroom like everybody. I cry. I get depressed. I eat biscuits when I'm, when I'm not happy. I get mad. But I'm just like you, and I'm not at all a star. I'm not famous. I am TK down to earth. I have my job. I get screamed at by my boss like everybody else. I'm normal, and I'll never ever be anything else than that. So I'm very, how should I say? It's important for me to stay approachable, and I want people to grow with me. I want them to feel what I'm feeling, which is the reason why I've opened also so much about myself and what I'm going through, to explain that I'm not like the others. I'm not here to sell you a reality that isn't my reality. I'm not glossy. I'm not just about high-end brands. I'm real. You know, when my heart gets broken, I cry and I weep. And I just want to get away from everything else, and I want you guys to feel that with me, because that's what we all go through. I want young girls to be able to identify with me at the end of the day and see me as real, because I'm real.
Thank you. Touching on the base of obviously social media, which is what we're talking about today, they normally say that once you put yourself out there on social media, especially as a blogger, it's more like opening a can of worms. You know, people will be hitting you in all directions, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I just want to touch on the subject of negativity, because obviously it has to do a lot with self-esteem. How do you stay on top of, obviously, when people are saying mean stuff or commenting on whatever they might be commenting on after you've posted a picture or something? How do you take criticism and make sure that it doesn't affect you, that you just decide that, oh, I don't want to blog anymore?
I think it all started with me deciding to do it for me, and to just being me and not trying to be like the others. I think what was very difficult for me when I started off was being voluptuous, so to say. It's something I've always been self-conscious. When I was younger, I wasn't very happy with my skin, and it took me a very long time to be comfortable in my own skin. And I realized that being so exposed, because once you're exposed, especially when you have a public page, so to speak, anybody can follow you. Guys will either send you very weird messages like, oh my God, you're sexy, send you dick pictures, etc. Inbox, or you'll get like people, I don't know, say nasty comments like, oh, you should maybe think about, doing a diet and stuff like that, or I don't like your shoes, this doesn't suit you, blah blah blah, or maybe you should have worn that, etc. Or like, what was very difficult for me, because like I said, at one point I really exposed my personal life, even though I didn't tell you about the details, but my ex was a very big part of my blog, because it was a project that we did together. He was my photographer, and he was very supportive, and we traveled together, so obviously we were a team. And obviously when our relationship ended, since he was so much a part of my page, it was so difficult for me to come back, hence my absence. And when I explained why I had been absent, oh my word, like I had maybe like, how should I say, half of the population of people following me that took his side without knowing the real story. And I got really mean messages on inboxes about, you shouldn't write stuff like that. But I mean, I was hurting. I know why I left the relationship. And just people were just so judgmental. And what hurt me is like some people who were following me initially unfollowed me to go and follow him, and it was just so weird. I know I don't really care about it now, but at the time,
don't even know you.
These are people that don't even know me, People take sides without actually knowing your story and your own life. So for me, and obviously, like I said, another big aspect is that, okay, I'm not a fashion blogger who's paid to do this. It's just a hobby. For me, it's an outlet just to, how should I say, to express my creative side. So I have a real job, and I'm very careful not to let the two overlap. I'm very private about my private life. People may think they know my life, but they don't. You don't know anything about me. You know what I want to show you and the parts that I want to share with you. And I keep what's private very, very private, and I try not to mix the two. So I want to be me. I work very hard at just being me and offering you the best possible version of TK, who's truest to who I am. And I assume who I am. Everything I've written, everything I put on my page is assumed. And today, compared to before, I try not to read too seriously what people may write, because I'm not doing it for the same reasons as everybody else. It's just an outlet for me. If you follow me, you follow me. If you unfollow me, you unfollow me. If you like what I do, you like. If you don't, you don't. Because I can't do what other people are doing. The price tag is way too high for me.
Okay. You've obviously build a good following on your, especially your Instagram. So what I would like to ask you is, how long did that take you, and do you have an advice for anyone who's going into the blogging world, like what sort of like foundation? Because you know these days people, you can buy followers, you can do all sorts, but what is the real authentic way of building followers on social media, be it Instagram or your blog or any other social media?
I think the most important part is not to, well, for me, obviously I learned that the hard way, even though before, I must admit, starting off I was really obsessed with the numbers, because when you have the numbers, you take it more seriously, and numbers attract numbers, because the more followers you have, the more people will follow you necessarily. But it takes a lot of investment. In other words, to grow your followers, I remember at the beginning, for a very long time, maybe a year or so, I spent my time with my ex-boyfriend following people and liking people and commenting on people. In order for people to recognize you, got to do that. It's just a price to pay. And obviously, the people who like the follow, SFS, what's it? Shout out for shout out. But there's certain things for me that I was against earlier on in the game, and I think I also paid the price for that, because I was formally against shouting out people. In other words, telling my followers to, even though I knew what I'd get back for that, telling my followers, oh, follow so and so, she's just amazing. I had a problem with that in the sense of I felt like a part of my integrity was being challenged, because I'm not necessarily a total fan of the person, and it would be me like how should I say, endorsing somebody, whereas I'm not a total fan, you know what I mean? Just because I know me saying that it's going to be tit for tat, she's going to do the same thing for me, all in the name of followers. So at some point I did a mind change. I literally had a change in mind, and I said, no, I can't do this anymore. Literally, people would write me. I have tons of people writing to me saying, oh, TK, how do you do it? I'm starting off, how do I get the followers? I'm like, it's simple. You either buy followers or you play along the rules, you know what I mean? Because don't think that people who are up there isn't a mix of both. There is. Either you have a hectic PR, but today it's extremely difficult to how should I say, to penetrate the market without a base. That's just the reality. There's too many people, too many influencers, and the competition is very, 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 very rife today compared to when we started. And even like I said, the early birds, those who started 10 years ago, they're the ones with the over 1 million today. The others either because they're from money and they're known, they have doors open, they work with big brands, so it's easy. When you have you're endorsed by big companies, it's easier. When you're working with PR companies, it's easier because you do work for them, you know? And for me, unless you're serious about wanting to work in the fashion lifestyle sector, you just gotta take it lightly. Just go there for the fun. Take it as an escape, because you're gonna be frustrated because the investment is too much of a price to pay, and it's not necessarily financial, the price, it's your well-being, your peace of mind, your confidence, your self-confidence. And I paid the price because at some point I was depressed. Like literally, I just felt like I just don't fit into this world. It's too frustrating. I feel like everybody's growing the numbers, people are getting likes, and I'm not growing, whereas I feel like my content is a certain quality, and I had to let it go. I literally said to get it go. Just let it slide. What is more important to you? Is that what you really want? You want to be living in this bubble and having all these people that you don't know anyway following you? Do you really want that and commenting on your life? Are you that sad? Do you really need that? You know? And I'm like, no, because the people I work with don't even know what half the stuff is, you know, and they literally laugh in my face, you know, to tell them that I'm crying over the fact that I lost a follower or I didn't get enough likes on my pictures, you know. It's not what my real world looks like. My real world is a far cry from that. So you need to evaluate what you want out of life. If you want to be in fashion, it's the price to pay. You got to go out there and make a name yourself, like any other day. Social media is just another way of being able to express yourself and getting yourself known. It's not the only way. So don't beat yourself down for that. Don't.